Afternoon, guys. Here we are again, coming near the end of a week. I've got quite a busy weekend coming up, so it'd be difficult to do the content on a Sunday as per usual going through. So I thought, well, if I do it now, I'll be ready and promoted next week's running ready ahead of schedule, sort of thing. And also, I've just done, excuse me, a long run. With nutrition tests, if you like. So I thought, well, we'll see how that's gone. I can discuss that and how it's all gone basically for this part of this week anyway. So, so as you know, I spent the last 5 days up until Wednesday in Alcudia. Great place to be, lovely for running. Not for cycling if that's your bag, sort of thing, not for me anymore, sort of thing, but yeah, really good place just for sports in general because the weather was so nice, sort of thing. We had one day a little bit of clouds, but no big deal. Every other day was nice and sunny, sort of thing, so it's just nice to get out and just run miles and just enjoy just running without being wrapped up, jackets on, tights on and everything else, sort of thing. So it was a bit monotonous in just running up and down the beach, but it's no big deal. I can deal with it. So that was that. But just as I went to Alcudia, I picked up a cold. It's the part of it now. So, which initially was just a head cold sort of thing, and I always go by the old rule of thumb. If it's above the throat, just run. If it goes down below your throat, obviously it's on your chest, then pay more attention, sort of thing. In fact, don't run is the old rule of thumb. But I found that being in Alcudia, pretty much I just ran, and most of the runs were at steady conversational pace, sort of thing, and I found that I could deal with that sort of thing. Initially, the first run, it was still a head cold, then it moves into my chest, and not so pleasant, but at the conversational pace, it was okay, I could deal with it. So that's what I did there. I had one run, which I did in the hotel gym, which was broken miles, and that wasn't so pleasant, sort of thing. And it wasn't until a little bit later then I thought about it. I just thought, well, it was probably the chest that struggled with that, sort of thing. So I was doing, it was really pushing it for me, sort of thing, in the paces to do the broken miles. There were 3:45, 3:35 and 3:25 for each of a 1200 metre part of the 1600 metre mile. So that was pretty stiff, and yeah, proved a little bit too much. I had to dial them all back by about half a kilometre an hour, sort of thing. So yeah, it was pretty tough going, but I got through it, but a little bit slower than anticipated. But like I say, the fact that the hotel, it was hot, there's no aircon or anything in there, sort of thing. So the gym, you really did struggle. There was no air mover or anything, so that wasn't too pleasant. And then, and say with the addition of the chest cold, didn't help. So, but outside of that, but I got through it and then continued with the running. That was the rest of the runs that I had, which were external runs at around 5 minute miles, the average 5 minute kilometers. So it's okay. So yeah, so that was that. But also I had a 31k run to do, which I decided against doing while I was there, primarily because of the chest. That was 15k at easy pace, 16k at my marathon race pace, 4:20 projected, sort of thing. So that wasn't going to happen over there with the chest. So came home, felt that today I wasn't in bad shape, sort of thing. So we give it a go, and and I can also get this. I've been trying to get this locked down, so and tested, so I know what I can do for the marathon, and so off I went today. I had a hydration vest on, and then my pockets full of gels and a bladder with some of these. So this is, I'll just go through these, what they are or why I use them, sort of thing. Precision Hydration, I think is great products. I've used them for at least 10 years now, sort of thing. So really good stuff. This I did a sweat test many years ago. I don't think anything's changed in me, so so I don't think I need to do another sweat test just to see where I am, sort of thing. So, but because consequently, I'm a heavy sweater, so it's a heavy. I'm not a big sweater, like I just sweat gallons, but it's a concentrated sweat of the amount of salt or sodium that is in my sweat. So I use the 1500 tablets that they provide, or they can provide 1500s, 1000s, 500s and 250s. So get to the 250s in a minute because they're there. So it's what I use generally for training, bottles and that. And then so today I put that in the reservoir on my back. It's not a big, it's only a Solomon Active 4, so it's not a big hydration vest. I don't want to be carrying all sorts. It's just for carrying basically gels, nutrition, and a drink. So took that with me. Excuse me. With a 1.5 litres in the back of it, and then this is the more important bit. This is the bit that I'm trying to nail down, ready for Blackpool Marathon on the 26th of April. So in keeping with the precision hydration that I like, because of the sodium that I lose, then I've used the electrolyte capsules. So I find these great in that you can just, it's a blister pack, you can just cut off what you need. I usually just cut them with scissors and round the corners off, because then I can keep it in my pocket easy. And as you're approaching a feed station, I can just pull that out, bust a tablet out. It depends on how many feed stations you've got on your planned route, race. So one of them with a few slugs of water, sort of thing, on every single one, usually keeps me in good shape, sort of thing. I'm keeping my sodium reasonably well topped up. It's not rocket science, not for me anyway, at my level. So I just take them and aim to get 500 to 600 mils of water per hour in, sort of thing. So you probably run through 3 stations in an hour. So 3 of them tablets, 750 milligrams. It'll keep you in a reasonable good condition. You can if you want to take loads, you can take 2 tablets per feed station, and you'll be in good shape, sort of thing. So this is a known for me. I've done it in a few races, so yeah, these are great, and because obviously we can't all go and put our bottles out on every feed station, so that like the pros or the elites can. So that's it. That's a given for me. Is I'll be using them. They'll be in my pocket. The differences now are in my last races. I jumped without testing, but I did just jump from 60 from taking usual precision hydration 30 grams, 2 of them an hour. So you got your 60 grams, your rule of thumb, if you like. And then, but there's been a lot of research done in the last couple of years, whereby with training your stomach you can go over 60 grams, you can take 90, 120 grams, and some of the professionals and elites are on higher than that, sort of thing. I'm not quite sure I want to get any higher than 120. So, but I did on the last 2 races 90. Certainly in the race in November, the first time I tried the 90, I definitely felt better for it, sort of thing. I'd had 2 before the race, and then so these are every 20 minutes, sort of thing. So trying to take a 30 gram every 20 minutes, Worked okay, and as I say, I felt better, I got a better result. It was an awful day, or 2 awful days, so no big deal with that, but the inside I was better, I know I was better. The only thing is that I noticed that now these are 2 to 1 ratio, which is 2 glucose to 1 fructose. There's an awful lot of writing now on the body can handle 2 systems, but they need to be more or less 1 to 1 sort of thing. 2 to 1 is you're going to be, not from what I read anyway, from what my understanding is, you're not going to be able to handle the 2 glucose to 1 fructose, but 1 of each you would. So whether that's going to cause an upset, or whether it's just going to go into your fat store, or whether it's just going to go out the other end, don't know. But I'm moving away from them. I still use them at the moment because I've got quite a few. But for racing, it's I'm away from them now, sort of thing. So looking at the other parts, looking at the SIS, because Sports and Science do 40 grams, and so without having to take a gel every 15 minutes, because it's hard enough taking one every 20 minutes, then using the 40 grams. So today was all about testing these and see how I felt with these, and stepping up to 120 grams. So that's what I did. You got the Nootropics, which is basically their version of a caffeine one, so it's more for focus, etc. Just like caffeine does, it's keeping you alert. And then these are 1 to 0.8 maltodextrin to fructose sort of thing. So glucose, maltodextrin, similar sort of things, but this is almost your 1 to 1, which is the new numbers, if you like. And then without the nootropics, these are just your general gels, 40 grams still. So 3 of those in an hour, every 20 minutes. I can deal with that. I just have no issues. Yeah, still for a training run, I still felt pretty good. Only downside to it was the training run was 15k at Conversational Place. I've got a 10k loop around where I live here. So to do 3 laps was my intention. So 1 lap, 1 full lap at Conversation, halfway round, you get the alarm in your ear to say, let's step it up. And that's what I did. And immediately I realised that my chest is not exactly healed. So after about a kilometre or so, I just thought, I just can't, because it was just, I was struggling to breathe and everything else sort of thing. So just backed it off to the Conversational pace, and then just came in after the 2nd lap and just called it a day at that, because I don't really want to get this any worse than what it is. So that was what we did there. But it still, it gave me, I was out for like 140 sort of thing, so it gave me sufficient time just to take some of the gels in, and that was it. These were where I was more curious about. They both do them. Precision Hydration do a chew, and the Science and Sport Beta Fuel range, they also do a chew. I've not tried a chew before. They're basically, I don't know if they still do them or if you remember them from being a kid or whatever, but when your mum used to make jelly at home, Chivers jelly in a cubes sort of thing, these are the same thing. That's what they look, same consistency, and basically they taste similar to whatever it says. So these are lemon. I broke one open after 20 minutes of running, and it's the messiest, just most awkward thing going sort of thing. These are fine, you just turn the top off, squirt the gel in, roll it up, and do however you get the gel into your mouth sort of thing. But this, I thought this would be alright, and it would be different from the gel. It's a different flavour. This is lemon, these are orange. But by the time you've torn it open and ripped it open, just like you would do a chocolate bar or whatever, it's all over your hands sort of thing. So, and then you've got to bite it. I was biting, now I'm struggling with a congested nose, etc. Excuse me, on my chest, and then I'm running down the road trying to maintain a pace, biting that, chewing on it sort of thing. It's like a jelly cube sort of thing, but still, it's got to be chewed and then swallowed. I was struggling to breathe. I had snot going everywhere because I just couldn't clear my nose because I was still trying to eat that. I could have ate it in smaller bites maybe, but it would have taken me a full 20 minutes to get through it, and then I would have been taking the next one straight away sort of thing. So, and I had the fluid on my back, so at least I could flush my mouth and that. But still, they might be good if you're a cyclist, but they're not good for me as a runner. So they won't be going any further. I'll be using them maybe in the pre-part of the race, just prior to starting the race. They're 45 grams. They've got a lot of carbs in them, and at the 1 to 0.8 ratio. So there's a place for them, but not really for me. Not while I'm running anyway. So I think is the worst thing. The last thing I wanted was sticky hands, and it was just everywhere. Then, and you're trying to wipe it, and it doesn't clean up sort of thing. So. Didn't even have water on my back, I had sticky tubes. So it is what it is. So, but at the end of the day, sort of thing, the Nootropics Better Fuel gel, and also just the standard orange Better Fuel gel, great. They work really well. That did work. I could feel it worked, but just the mess and the struggle with the breathing and that, it wasn't worth it for me. So the chews will stay out of the equation. I'll just pack these ready for when I go to do Blackpool. I'll have them in my pocket, and hopefully they'll go through okay sort of thing. So no struggles with them. And I also have a blister pack of the sodium enough for however many aid stations there are. I'll have one capsule for each of them, and every time you crack a bottle, I'll pop one of them in, and we'll see how we go with that. But I know when I did Brighton last year, I thought I was going to need more fluid because it was so hot. It was like the hottest day of the year last year, April, scorching. So I took more electrolytes with me, and I was making sure that I was getting a good slug out of the bottle before I disposed of the bottle. And then I ended up taking too much water. I was just sloshing about thinking, oh, I've just overdone it now. So I'm not going to get too uptight with the water. As long as I can take it regularly through the race, I'll be fine with that, and a sodium tablet. But like I say, that'll be them. That'll be the day. And that'll be me sort of thing. So I was glad that I got through the run today. At least 2/3 of the run, it was enough to get sufficient of these in to know that I didn't get upset stomach or anything. I didn't anticipate any of that. I've never had an upset stomach from any of the gels. It's just that you have a preference for flavours or whatever. There's another flavour, strawberry and lime. I believe they're very good, so I'll probably try them before the end of April, and then we'll just take it from there. So, but yeah, so that was a pretty good run, apart from my chest let me down. Pretty much like it let me down for the speed session. So I've got to see how my legs are tomorrow, and how my chest is. Then I'll either do a park run and go for a good fast 5k, or I've got a 10k easy, and that's the plan. It's a 10k easy sort of thing, but I might do a park run in the morning, a local one down at Clacton because it's a fast one, and we'll see how we go from there. At least the shoes were okay as well. It's the longest I've run in the On Running Cloud Boom Strikes. Hell of a long name for them, but they felt okay. I was actually surprised today. I took the insoles out to maybe try the Enitors, but the insole in the On, the actual part that's under your foot, not your heel, is just like a regular piece, but the bit that goes under your foot has got to be, or the main part of your foot, the front part of your foot, if you like, not your heel, has got to be almost an inch thick. And so when I put the Enitors in, there was a huge amount of space in the shoe, which wasn't going to work sort of thing. And obviously they've got that in for a reason, because the sole is not so fat when you take that out. So it's a part of the giving the sole sort of thing. So a bit weird, but they worked okay for the run that I've had. I still don't know at the moment. I've still got a pair of Adidas Pro 4s, which I've not really done much running in excuse me, because of the Achilles. But now I'm not wearing a wedge or anything in my shoes, so I can wear the Achilles. I can try the Adidas more. Might give them a shot tomorrow, or I've still got my go-to shoes of being the Saucony Endorphin Elite 2s, which I've done a couple of marathons in, never let me down. So maybe I'll be running in them again. But there you go. So I'll put in next week's runs now. I'll put on the end of this, and hopefully you have a good weekend, and we'll take it from there. Have a good next week as well.